Attitudes towards mental illness have improved considerably, and in particular over these last couple of decades. Being mentally unwell is not a weakness. In fact, it's often those who are the most conscientious and dedicated who experience such difficulties. Depression, for example, has been called the curse of the strong. Feeling anxious or depressed at certain times is perfectly normal. We're bound to feel anxious if we're facing an important exam or appointment, or a relative is in hospital. It's natural to feel down or low after a bereavement or the breakup of a relationship. Indeed, those emotions and responses are a necessary part of who we are as human beings, and they're integral to our ability to cope with the difficult situations that we face and to live well. But it is right to be concerned when feelings or symptoms of anxiety or depression affect our ability to function, when work, sleep, family life and other everyday matters are increasingly affected. Now, if you're experiencing those symptoms every day for more than 2 weeks, help needs to be sought. The difficulty is that a lot of people don't seek help that quickly. We feel we ought or should be able to cope. We might tell ourselves not to be stupid. Others might tell us to pull ourselves together. But talk early. Don't let it get worse. You may be familiar with the story of the man from the Gerasenes. The man, he's not called Legion, by the way. It's the demons that call themselves Legion, not the man. The man from the Gerasenes was an outcast, literally cast out of the city. He didn't live with the living. He lived with the dead in the tombs. And then Jesus came along. You may like to press pause and read the account in Mark's Gospel, or take a look at it later. The man from the Gerasenes was somebody's son. He'd been a child who sat on his mother's knee, a boy who splashed in the waters of the lake. But now look at him. Whatever happened, whatever went wrong. And so used was he to being badly treated by other people that when he sees Jesus coming towards him, he's frightened. "What have you to do with me? Do not torment me," he says. Yet in his running towards and bowing down before the Lord, he grasped the opportunity to get the help he knew he needed. Now, like so many people before and since, he reached out for help, even though he was afraid of doing so. You might like to think back to a time in your life when you felt as if you were living in the tombs, a time when life was tough, perhaps due to illness, difficulties at home or at work, estrangement from family, the ending of a relationship, the pandemic, for example. In what ways did you run to Jesus? After Jesus' intervention, and yes, it was a shame about the pigs, we learn how the man from the Gerasenes is described as being in his right mind. Now, many have said that this man was mentally ill, and he may well have been. Indeed, there appears to be a reference to self-harm. He's said to be bruising himself with stones. But just to be perfectly clear, if someone is mentally unwell, it doesn't mean that they are demon-possessed, as this man was described to be. Where it exists, and it still does, demon possession is usually related to significant spiritual distress. Mental ill health is often more affected and influenced by psychological, sociological and biological factors in someone's life. With 1 in 4 of us seeking help from a doctor about a mental health problem at some point in life, it is encouraging to see that increased recognition of the importance of looking after our mental well-being. Asking for help is not a sign of failure. But, like with the man from the Gerasenes, paradoxically, although not unusually, the act or even the very thought of seeking help can feel frightening. We may be scared of what will come out, worried about what's wrong or what other people will think. But asking for help is a sign of strength. But it is important to be realistic. Unlike that afforded to our Gerasene friend, although God can and does enable miraculous healing, generally speaking, there is no quick fix. Medication can help, but isn't always necessary. However, it will take time and effort, which is in itself part of the reason why so many people end up struggling for so long, simply because it takes so much time and so much effort. So talk early, don't let it get worse. And the good news is that people do get better. Unlike many physical health conditions though, recovery from a period of mental ill health may not mean the complete absence of symptoms, but it will see the return to a more comfortable level of day-to-day functioning, to once again live well. So, how do you look after your mental health? Are you working all the hours God sends and missing out on all the other things God wants to give you? Or are you living well?